June 21st, 2042. A day that started like any other for Dr. Elias Carter would soon become the most important day of his life. Not because of anything he did, but rather because of something he didn't do. Or more accurately, something he almost didn't do. At the heart of Chrono Lab's headquarters, Dr. Carter was the lead scientist on Project Time Travel. And today was the day they would attempt the first jump through the time rift, a machine capable of bending time itself. And yet, just hours before the test, Carter had received an email that changed everything. An email with a subject line that read, "Do not activate the time rift," followed by a single sentence that threatened his very existence. "Don't activate the time rift. You will destroy everything." The strangest part, the email was sent from his own account, but how? It was an email from 50 years into the future. Was it a prank? Who was trying to scare him off? He couldn't be certain, but he knew there was only one way to find out. His mind raced with possibilities. Was he going mad? Had he been compromised? Could someone have hacked into his system? But as the minutes ticked by, he found himself growing increasingly disturbed. The email felt real, too real to be a hoax. Its implications sent a chill down his spine. Did he somehow have a future self sending a warning from half a century ahead? How could this be? If the email was true, then the consequences were unimaginable. What would happen if he activated the time rift? Would he indeed destroy everything? Was it possible to kill himself? Yes, but how could his future self send him a message? It seemed impossible. Time travel wasn't supposed to be possible. With seconds to spare, he decided to trust his gut instincts and press the big red button to start the process. The room began to shake. Lights flickered erratically around them. An eerie hum filled the air. Electricity arced between the machine's components. The air crackled with anticipation as the gateway whirred to life. A brilliant white light erupted, illuminating the room in an otherworldly glow. The machine had activated successfully, but this was just the beginning. As the light subsided, revealing the machine's true form, Carter and his team were left in. The time rift gateway stood before them, a shimmering portal of swirling energy promising an adventure into the unknown. Taking a deep breath, Carter steeled himself for the moment. He knew there was no turning back. With a determined nod, he stepped forward and vanished into the time rift. The portal rippled and stabilized, leaving behind an echo in silence. The team watched in suspense, their fate hanging in the balance. Suddenly, the air crackled with energy once more. The portal flared, spitting its contents back into the room with a violent surge. Carter stumbled out, his face pale, eyes wide with shock. "What have I done?" he whispered, his voice trembling. Around them, the laboratory was in ruins. Twisted metal and shattered glass littered the floor. The team lay injured nearby, their faces etched with pain and confusion. "What happened here?" Carter asked, his voice barely a whisper. A holographic display flickered to life beside him, revealing a grim message from their future selves. "The time rift created a paradox. Our world is collapsing," the message stated flatly. "We were too late. The damage is irreversible. This is our last message. All hope is lost." The message ended abruptly, leaving Carter shaken and desperate for answers. How could this be? He had followed the protocol. Everything should have worked perfectly, yet here they were, facing a future that was literally unmaking itself. Carter knew he had to act fast. There had to be a way to fix this. He needed to understand the paradox before it consumed them all. His journey had taken an unexpected turn, but he wouldn't give up without a fight. As Carter grappled with the cryptic message, he noticed something peculiar. A figure stood silently in the corner of the room, shrouded in darkness. Their face was obscured, but something about their posture and the way they carried themselves seemed strangely familiar. Cautiously, Carter approached the figure, his heart pounding in his chest. "Who are you?" he asked, his voice echoing in the ruined lab. The figure slowly turned, revealing a face etched with exhaustion and despair. It was Carter, but not the Carter from their present. This Carter was older, his features hardened by years of struggle and loss. "I'm you," the future Carter said, his voice raspy and worn. "Or rather, I was you. I come from a time beyond your understanding. A time where the time rift has caused the collapse of multiple reality." Before Carter could respond, the future Carter continued, his voice filled with urgency. "You must close the rift before it's too late. If you don't, you'll destroy everything." Carter's mind reeled. Everything. What did that mean? He struggled to comprehend the gravity of the situation. To destroy everything. To undo the damage caused by the time rift, Carter had only one option. He had to travel to the moment before the accident, before the time rift had been activated, and prevent it from happening. By doing so, he could potentially save countless lives and protect the very fabric of reality. But traveling to the past was dangerous. There were risks he hadn't considered before. What if he accidentally altered the timeline in unintended ways? What if his actions led to even greater disasters? Fear gnawed at him. Doubt crept into his mind, but he knew he couldn't afford to hesitate. The fate of multiple realities hung in the balance. Taking a deep breath, Carter pushed his doubts aside. He had to trust in his ability to fix the mess he had created. The thought of destroying everything kept him focused. He had to succeed. With renewed determination, Carter prepared for his journey back in time. He worked tirelessly, utilizing all the knowledge and resources at his disposal to create a plan. He studied the time rift, searching for any clue that could help him navigate the complexities of time travel. Finally, he was ready. As he stepped into the time rift, the world around him dissolved into a blinding white light. His journey back in time had begun. The portal shimmered and stabilized, revealing a sight that made Carter's heart sink. The laboratory was exactly as they had left it, untouched by the catastrophic events that would soon unfold. He was back in the moments before the time rift had been activated, the point of no return. Carter burst through the door, his face pale and eyes wide with urgency. "Shut it down," he yelled, his voice echoing through the lab. "Don't activate the rift." His words hung in the air, but his teammates were oblivious, continuing their preparations for the time rift activation. They didn't know that in a split second, they would all cease to exist, trapped in a time loop, forever stuck on June 21st, 2042. Carter watched in horror as the countdown reached its final moments. The machine whirred, the lights flashed, and the time rift activated. Once again, the world dissolved into blinding light as the time rift spat him back out into the ruined laboratory. Stranded in the year 2092, Carter's spirit was unbroken. He refused to give up. Hope flickered within him, driving him to explore the remnants of the city. Amidst the ruins, he discovered an oasis of data, an AI archive that held secrets about the world's demise, and perhaps a way to undo it. As he delved deeper into the archive's vast stores, he uncovered a holographic message from a future version of himself. The time rift destroyed reality. The message began, its tone grave and urgent. "You must return to the year 2042 and stop it from ever being activated. You are our only hope." Carter's resolve hardened. He had a mission, a purpose. He would go back and prevent the disaster that had unfolded. Using the AI's remaining power, Carter hacked into the time rift's frequency and sent himself a message from the future. The exact same message he had received in the beginning. The irony was not lost on him. Now, armed with knowledge of the future and a burning determination to rewrite history, Carter was ready to confront the paradox head-on. As the time rift began to shut down, Carter took his final opportunity to jump through it. The familiar sensation of time slipping washed over him, and he found himself back in the laboratory on June 21st, 2042. Bursting through the doors, he cried out to his colleagues, "Stop it," but it was too late. The machine roared to life, bathing the room in an ethereal glow. Carter watched in horror as the time rift activated once again, knowing that no matter what he did, the outcome would always be the same. He was trapped in an endless loop, destined to relive the same moments over and over again until someone broke the cycle. And so, the paradox continued, a never-ending cycle of activation, destruction, and rebirth. And somewhere in the vast expanse of time, Dr. Carter's warnings echoed unheard, lost in the endless loop of the Chrono Paradox.